What's up, everybody? Welcome back. Bond's Apartment. So another watch collection video. We did this about a year ago with my watch collection. A lot of people liked it, got a lot of positive feedback, so I said, why not revisit? I know I've added some new pieces since then, but I didn't realize how many I've added. Not one of these pieces was also in that video a year ago. There's 10 here. So let's do it. Side story, really quick, which if you know me personally, you know that's never the case, but this will be quick. The three of these 10 watches were actually given to me by my grandfather, all at the same time. So there's that, one of which, of course, all three are special, but one of which is very special. But we will get there in a second. So we'll start with this first one. So this first one is an odd watch. It is and I'm going to butcher this, it's from a Russian brand. It's called Vostok Kommandersky. So I think it's technically like a Russian military watch. I don't think it's actually used by the Russian military. They're definitely cheaper watches. The reason I got this watch is actually because this is the watch worn by Adam Scott's character in the show Severance. So I'm a big fan of the show Severance, and I've got this particular fascination with, like, when I'm watching shows or movies and kind of trying to spy what watch they have on, which I think a lot of people do, but it's when it's not your everyday watch, like it's not just like a Submariner or something like that, where you have to like really hunt it down. So I had to hunt this down, and it was pretty cool. I mean, even on Hodinkie's site, they have a whole article about it, so check that out. But even the picture they're using on the site is of a similar watch. It's not actually the exact watch he wears in the show. There's some screenshots from the show where you can get a better look and you can see this watch, but it's cool that I was able to track this down. I mean, as of right now, it's not anything special in the show. Obviously, this is what, if you watch the show, this is what he wears when he's at work, not at home. Or no, opposite, he wears it at home, not at work. So once I did some more research on it, and it says here, it's kind of more so something to do with costume design choice, but I don't know, maybe this will eventually play somewhat of a role in the show, and knowing that I have it, I think is kind of cool. So that's the first one. Okay, next we're jumping into the watches from my grandfather. So this is a 1963 Bulova gloss dial Surf King, it's called. So it's got a small seconds there. One that I haven't really watched, it's got kind of a similar bracelet to like an older Rolex. I don't know if this bracelet is actually aftermarket or not. I kind of feel like it may be, but it's just ultra thin, ultra light. These are things that I just find incredibly fascinating to get from my grandfather. Makes it really special, but then also the simple fact that it's from 1963. I mean, it's really cool. It's a 34 millimeter. I believe it is a mechanical watch. Yeah, it's hand wound to kind of put them on and then see everything start to work. Like to see this small second hand just start ticking. It's from 1963, and it was just sitting in his drawer, which once we get to the third of 3 watches he gave me, this being the first, I'll tell the story behind these watches. But yeah, so this is a Bulova. Next from my grandfather is a Jung Hans, which I hope I'm pronouncing correctly. Jung Hans it's a shockproof 17 jewels. I don't know much about this one either. It is a military style German watch. 1951 is what he thinks he can place this. One of the cool things about this one in particular is, And I'm assuming, since this is a German watch, that this is an aftermarket strap because it actually says Malazzo on it, Italy, Sicily in particular. So my grandfather is Sicilian and he was born in Sicily. So he was probably given this watch by somebody and then put a strap on it himself, or the previous owner did, and the strap is leather from Malazzo. It's really cool, but it's a military style watch, manual wound movement. I don't know much about this one either. I'll continue to do research on it. It's hard to even find a picture of one that looks just like this online, but small seconds. It's got kind of the bigger numbers on it, almost like a pilot watch, but not even close to being the size. Stainless steel, shock proof. Another pretty cool piece. So that's watch number 3 and number 2 from my grandfather. So let's go into the 2 MoonSwatches I have picked up in the last year. So the first one is the Mission to Mars. Red case, white dial. I really, really like the white dial. The reason I chose this one is because after my wife and I got married in November, we went to Toronto for like a mini moon, people call it. And they have a swatch there, and we went in, they had this one, sun, and whatever the baby blue is, I want to say Jupiter or something like that. And this was the closest thing. I mean, I obviously wanted like the Mission to the Moon or Mercury or one of the more, they look like the actual Speedmaster. But this is one I thought I can get away with wearing all the time. I actually put a Hirsch strap on here, and if you look close, you can see the red stitching, which matches the case really well. So that is the first of 2 MoonSwatches, and then the second one is the Pluto. This one I got more recently. This I haven't changed the strap or anything like that. I love the way it looks. I like that like gray, like kind of grayish strap is really cool. I like the kind of very light gray case with like the cream dial on it with the red bezel. I think that's a really, really sharp watch. I mean, these watches are great. Everybody you hear, especially on like something like Talking Watches, whenever people talk about MoonSwatches, yes, they're, you know, it's maybe it's gimmicky, maybe it's whatever, but it's getting people into watches that probably wouldn't. My brother-in-law saw this. Shout out to Eric. What's up? He wanted one of these when he saw it, so we got him one. I mean, it's like, it's now people that aren't normally wearing watches are wearing watches because of something like this. So I think it's really cool what they're doing. I'm glad I have a couple of these. I'll probably get more. But yeah, those are the Moon watches. Okay, so next is when we're diving into the most interesting piece, I would say, of the remaining 5. So 4 of the remaining 5 are Omegas, 1 is a Rolex. This is probably the most interesting. So this is the other watch and the third and final watch given to me from my grandfather. So this is a self-winding Omega. It is gold. It has the fancy lugs, as they are called. Shout out to Rainer, helping me figure that out. It's got a honeycomb dial, crazy, just like the Bulova. I started winding it and it just started ticking, which is nuts. It definitely needs some service. Similar to the MoonSwatch Mission to Mars, I put a leather Hirsch strap on this one because actually when he handed it to me, it didn't have a strap. So the story behind this and the other couple watches is my grandpa wears a Constellation that he bought, I think, in the 80s or 90s. And he thinks he got it in the 70s, but he didn't. He did buy it in Italy, which is also cool. He wears it all the time, and he tells me he's going to give it to me when he passes away, which I am in no rush for any of these things to happen because my grandfather is awesome. With that said, I'd gone over there one day to help him with his computer, and I'm helping him, and it's never the most pleasant of experiences when you're helping somebody with IT, especially when they're in their 90s. He is a very lovely man, but it's not what everybody wants to be doing. And we're sitting there doing it, and he says, you know, I have a second Omega. I literally couldn't believe my ears. I was like, how you've been telling me about this Constellation? I've seen the Constellation a million times. It's like, yeah, finish what you're doing, I'll show you. So go into his bedroom, and he tells me to go into the dresser, and he says, pull the whole drawer out. So I take this drawer out, I put it on the bed, and that's when he pulled out this Bulova this other watch, and then of course this Omega, which I had never seen anything like it. So some of my friends have, people I know that work at Omega and some other watch enthusiasts, especially specifically with vintage Omegas, place this like late 40s. 14, maybe 18 karat gold, late 40s. Still works, which is nuts. It's got some damage on the case. Like I said, it needs some serious TLC, but very, very special watch there. Next here we have a 1964, I believe, Omega Seamaster date, automatic. This was the first vintage watch that I had purchased. I wanted to start getting into the vintage collection of things. Once again, you can see I'm biased. It's got a Hirsch strap on it. It's like a black alligator. It looks so great on this watch. I got it for an incredible price. The reference number on this one, I believe, is 135007, believe it or not, pretty sure. 1964, I think, would be about right. This one is automatic. That model number might not be 100% accurate. I've got to go back in my messages and check, but it's 35 millimeter, automatic, works like a charm. The story behind this, and I do have a video up specifically about this watch. When it showed up, it didn't have a strap or bracelet on it. And then I had already ordered this Hirsch strap 18 millimeter, and I was so excited to put it on and wear it. And then when I looked, it looked like former remnants of either a leather strap or a stainless steel bracelet were still in the lug holes, like fused in there. So I had to reach out to a local jeweler nearby to see if they could fix it. And I think they just went in there with like a micro bit and drilled it out, and now it's working perfect. But that was a little bit of a scare. I didn't know if that could be fixed. I mean, that was pretty brutal. Another very special watch is I bought this off a friend of mine. Shout out to Jordan. Thank you for selling me this. This is also, we believe, a mid to late 1960s Seamaster. So they're both very similar. The difference is this one, the case back is got the Seamaster logo in a much more pronounced way rather than just kind of this engraving. And then this one's got that Don Draper kind of crosshair on the dial, which is incredible. And this one's in close to mint condition. I mean, it's got like some signs of light wear to it, but it's incredible. Automatic. It's got like a silver dial. A friend of mine said that that might be black onyx there on the numerals or on the hour markers, I would say, and along with the minute and hour hand. Date window, of course, 35 millimeter, 34 and a half, something like that, maybe 36. Such a nice watch. I wear this one all the time, even if it's not like tuxedo or a special occasion. I actually wore this one to my wedding. Jordan wore this one to my wedding, and now I have them both. Like a true watch collector, I was like, give me that. He was actually looking to get rid of it. I don't know why, but I took it off his hands. We'll dive into the last two watches. One of them is actually my wife's watch. So this is my wife's technically second ever watch, which is so frustrating in so many different ways. It is a Rolex Lady Datejust Oyster Perpetual with the presidential bracelet on there, black face, 18 karat gold, given to her from her grandmother. A similar story with mine, with my grandfather. Her grandmother kept telling her that she will leave this to her when she passes away. We went to lunch with her one day, and she had it on, and I was like, can I take a look at it? And she gave it to me, and my wife put it on. She said, you know what? I want you to take it now. I want you to wear it when I'm still around rather than when I'm gone. And she seems to be in pretty good shape. She's still doing really well. So very, very cool. And my wife, I love her to pieces, but I really don't think she understands just how valuable and it's just a big deal, this gift. So this one we're saying we think this is, her grandmother wasn't 100% sure. Another thing too, when we went and had this cleaned, you would have thought it was brand new. I mean, she said she never wore it. It like, just what a gift. That's all I could say. last but not least, my favorite of my most recent additions, and this was a wedding gift from my wife. It is the Planet Ocean as seen in the pre-title sequence from Skyfall. This is the 232-30-42 from Omega. 20 millimeter lug to lug, 42 millimeter case, stainless steel, 600 meters water resistant. Obviously, with this channel, I'm a huge Bond guy. I wanted another Bond watch, but I also wanted a Speedy. I've wanted an Aquaterra. I saw this one come up and I was like, I love the Planet Ocean. I don't really like the bigger size that you see him wearing like Casino Royale. So I wanted to get this. It's the Omega 8500 caliber. This watch I see myself wearing, or I shouldn't say see myself, I find myself wearing all the time. It's got that exposed see-through case back. It's such a great everyday watch. I absolutely love it. Very versatile. I have leather straps that I put on it. I've got a few NATO straps I put on this. And then the fact that it was my wedding gift is what makes it even more special. This is a watch I will never get rid of. I mean, pretty much everything on this table, I would assume I'd never get rid of. The GoldenEye Omega Seamaster Professional was the main attraction for the original edition of this watch video. So now it makes sense that 1 year later, the new main attraction is this Omega Planet Ocean from Skyfall, which I absolutely love. That's it. Thank you for watching. I'm assuming a year from now I won't have 10 new watches. And don't worry, Mom and Dad, I think I only bought, I don't know, half of them. Maybe more than half. Whatever, you know, that's what we do. That's what we do. But thank you guys for watching. I'll catch you on the next one.